Hello, welcome to our presentation, Telegram as a tool for remote teacher training. Okay, I am Juana Sagaray. I am the project manager at the British Council Venezuela, and I am presenting with María Teresa Fernandez, who is the monitoring and evaluation researcher for the project, and Wendy Arnold, who is the consultant and the designer of the modules and in charge of the delivery. Okay, so this program is being run in Venezuela. As you know, Venezuela is located in the north of South America. There are around 30 million inhabitants in the country, and the official language is Spanish. English is learned as a foreign language. So our presentation is divided into 4 phases. Phase 1, planning. Phase 2, training delivery. Phase 3, monitoring and evaluation for learning. And phase 4, reflection. Phase 1, planning. Why is a teacher training program needed for teachers of English? So in the first place, the language level proficiency in Venezuela is very low. So there is a study by EF that shows that Venezuela is in position 15 out of 20 Latin American countries regarding language level proficiency. So to this we add that there is a lack of teachers in the country. Many teachers have resigned and many others have left the country. And then we also face the issue that teachers from other subjects are teaching English because of this. So something needs to be done regarding this. So that's why we thought of a training program. Now, who are the teachers in this training program? The teachers that participate in this program are teachers or are students from UNEM, which is the national university from the Ministry of Education in Venezuela. So UNEM runs the PNF, which is the National Training Program for in-service and pre-service teachers. The PNF appoints tutors and facilitators in each state of the country. Tutors are coordinators in their states, and along with the facilitators, they are responsible for each group in their states. So the tutors and the facilitators are also taking part in this program. Who are the trainers? So we have a multicultural group of trainers. They are highly qualified with masters or above in ELT, the same as the writers. We have a multicultural group of writers highly qualified. The context. I will say about the context that the same as in many countries, we are facing the pandemic because of COVID-19. So many schools, or most schools, have been closed, and at the moment they have opened, but we are not still 100% face-to-face. So we need to find ways to communicate with teachers remotely. So these are the things we face. Most teachers don't have computers. They don't have desk computers. They don't have laptops. Most of them don't have tablets. And add to this, we have frequent blackouts in many states of the country, and teachers don't have Wi-Fi. But we found out that most teachers have smartphones. So we try to use this. So for planning the program, we had a risk assessment. So we know that we have poor connectivity and that we face frequent blackouts in different states. For this, So we thought of using an app where we could use the chat and where we could have recording. So if teachers misses a sessions, they can then watch the recording. So we thought of Telegram as an alternative, but the thing is that we didn't have experience using Telegram. There is not an experience like this before in the country. So we had a research phase for this, and we recorded onboarding videos. So we created a channel for teachers and trainers to get familiar with the app. And thinking of potential incidents, we had safeguarding training with the trainers, and we share our code of conduct with trainers and participants. In fact, we share the code of conduct with participants at the beginning of every session. And we have also shared our equality, diversity, and inclusion policy. Now, why Telegram? So one of the things we thought of Telegram as an alternative is that Telegram consumes less data than other apps. For example, compared to WhatsApp, Telegram takes around 35 to 40% less data, and that is an advantage in our context. So another thing is that Telegram can be used from different devices. You can use Telegram from your desk computers, laptops, tablets, and phones. In fact, what the trainers are doing is that they share their screens using their laptops while they keep the chat. They have communication with the participants through the chats to answer questions and have interactions during the session. And this has been very useful. Another point is that Telegram works as a cloud. That means that it does not take space from the phones. So you can download music, videos, you can have pictures, voice messages, files, and it doesn't take space from the telephone at all. Video calls, so we have the chance to use video calls, and you can have up to 30 participants. If you need that all participants have their camera on, you can have up to 30 participants. But if you don't need that the participants have their camera on, there is no limit in the number of participants. So you can have large numbers of participants in your session if you need it. Another point is that there is no time limit. You can have a session for as long as you need. Our sessions are 60-minute sessions, but if you need to have longer sessions, you can have it. It is totally free. And something that has been very useful is that you can record your sessions. So if a teacher misses a session for any reason, then he has the chance to watch the recording and catch up. Another important feature is that you can pin messages or files. So there is the chance to pin messages at the top of the app. So if you need to post important information for the participants, then participants know they are there. They go to the right place and they can find information easily and quickly. And it can be audited at any time. So everything is safe in the cloud. So if you need to find information, if you need to make a report, you just go into the chat and you find everything there. You can check attendance and you can track share files. Okay, now I will hand it over to Wendy. She's going to explain what the approach for the designing of the modules have been and how we have run these modules. Wendy.
Okay, well, considering the challenges in this particular context that we identified during the needs analysis phase, we decided that a flipped training approach would be suitable. And a flipped training approach uses content which is self-accessed by the participants asynchronously. It's sent ahead of the live session, and that gives the teachers time to read the information, the content that we want them to understand, and they can read it in their own time. And then during the synchronous live session, we use the content that they have studied, and then the actual live session has more interactions. Now, like all projects, like all trainings, communication streams are really important, and probably even more so during remote training. So we set up, Juana and I had access to all the groups. We had one general group, which had all the teachers, all the trainers, tutors, and participants, and facilitators. Then each of the training groups, there were 13, had an admin group, which was for their asynchronous material to come through. And each one had a live synchronous Telegram group. The trainers had their own group so that they could communicate with each other and support each other. The writers of the materials also had another group so that they could communicate and support each other. And then there was a separate group for the facilitators and the tutors. Now, the actual content of the training, we decided to use the British Council's Continued Professional Development, CPD, framework for teachers, because this is a really comprehensive, well thought out scheme. And the modules were based around the content there. As you can see here, we've got teaching teenagers, managing lessons, managing resources, etc. All very relevant for teachers. We selected 10 modules out of the 12. And for module 1, we started off with 30 minutes asynchronous work and 90 minutes synchronous work. And this is now finished. That was delivered in October to December last year. All right, so the second phase is the training delivery. And for the training delivery, as I said, we've already done module 1, which was October to December last year. The synchronous work included video calls, screen shares, written messages, video messages, polls, voice messages, and the asynchronous work, which was through the admin Telegram group, included a pre-workshop task, which was sent through using a PowerPoint. There was a post-workshop task for the assessments, and the participants had to do a learning journal. All right, so then we went on to phase 3, the monitoring and evaluation for learning, and I'll hand over to my colleague, Dr. María Teresa Fernandez.
Evaluation, we used different tools, and we worked with pre-test for module 1, interview to trainers, survey to tutors, interview to participants, training session observations, and a post-test after module 1. So the pre-test and the post-test, they were about the content of module 1, which was YLT approaches and methods. So 10 questions were designed online, and participants took this test before starting module 1. And a similar test with 10 questions as well about the content of module 1 was presented for participants at the end of module 1. And based on the results, we found that for the pre-test, the average result from 1 to 10 was 4 points. That was the score for the average score of the whole group. And the post-test, the result increased to 8.5. It means that the delivery of the training was effective because participants had the chance to improve their knowledge on English language teaching approaches and methods, as we can see in the slide. Now, when trainers were interviewed, they all agreed this has been a very positive training, and for them, this has been an opportunity for learning and for growth. Some of them said they didn't know Telegram and they didn't have any idea of the potential things they can do with it when teaching. So they also mentioned the participants' enthusiasm and motivation they could perceive when participating in the live sessions and by doing the assessments. And they considered that the content was appropriate for the level and for the needs of the teachers that were part of the program. And the main obstacle they found was the internet connection, that in some cases, some participants had weak internet connection. Well, here's some of their thoughts. One of the trainers said that the training will have considerable impact on teachers' performance. Even in Module 1, they are already willing to try out new approaches and methodologies in their classrooms. They are in a process of reevaluating their teaching, which is very valuable. Okay, some of the challenges found by the trainers were that some participants had problems with audio and visuals. So the solution to this situation was to prepare materials to share in the chat. For example, if there was a participant who couldn't listen properly because the trainer's voice was breaking because of internet connection, so they decided to have a document with all the training language scripted so they can copy and paste in the chat the information they were saying so the participants didn't miss any information. The same happened for some people who could not see the screen share because of a poor internet connection. So they made screenshots of the PowerPoint slides and they shared these screenshots in the chat. So everyone had the chance to get all the information. Another point that trainers mentioned as some of the challenges was that they need tutors and facilitators to have a stronger role. So for Module 2, the distribution of tutors and facilitator was made evenly, so there was at least one tutor in each of the groups. The other action that was taken was to have a module for tutors and facilitators in teaching education so they can be ready to deliver the modules in the future. Another challenge faced was that some participants didn't do the pre-workshop tasks. So the solution for this was awarding a mark for the assessment tasks. Yeah, as I mentioned, some of the actions that were taken was to design a module for teacher educators. This was addressed to facilitators and tutors. So again, this module, which is called Module 10, is being delivered right now. And it has synchronous and asynchronous work, just as in the other groups. But this is based on the British Council's Continued Professional Development Framework for Teacher Educators. So this is the base of the content that's being delivered in this module. And it consists of 5 workshops with 2 live training and peer assessment, plus another session for feedback and learning. So this is a total of 8 sessions, 1 workshop each week. And these sessions are 60 minutes of synchronous work and 90 minutes of asynchronous work. Right. Tutors were also interviewed and they were asked about the things they considered challenges. So one of the things that they perceived as an issue was that the sessions were very long. It was 90 minutes the synchronous section. That's why from workshop 2 onwards, the sessions were reduced to 60 minutes synchronous work and 60 minutes of asynchronous work. Yeah, one of the reasons why they mentioned this is because some people were watching the live sessions on their devices, and devices can get hot or they run out of battery because that's too long. Another thing they mentioned was that it was confusing for some participants to have two Telegram groups. As Wendy mentioned before, there was an admin group for asynchronous work and a live group for synchronous work. But now we only have one group for all, for asynchronous and synchronous work. Participants were also interviewed. They valued this training program as very positive, and they didn't know Telegram before, most of them, and they didn't know the advantages that Telegram has. So one of the things they mentioned is that it's good because they can have large groups, because they can share files easily. It is good for them to upload documents or download documents from Telegram. They say that they can find the same information they have in their phones. They can open in another device and they can still have the same information. They notice that they can have different ways of interacting. They can use the chat for messages, or they can record audio. They can record video and audio, or they can just unmute their microphones and say what they want to say. So they found this interesting. The other thing they said is very easy to use, and they can find information easily with the ping function. Yeah, some of the challenges the participants mentioned were the schedule. Some of them had problems with schedule. So the solution to this was giving the chance for participants to change to different groups. And there were two groups that we changed the total schedule because there was in a difficult hour. And the other challenge mentioned by participants was the connectivity. Well, most of them, the only complaint they had about the whole thing was their own problems with connectivity. So for this, we're giving the option for participants to watch the recording if they cannot join the session for a problem with connectivity. And right now, two experiments are being carried out. Number one is giving participants the PowerPoint slides, the recording, and the option to see the chat, and asking them some questions just to check the participant was able to watch a recording and to catch up. And the other experiment, number two, is to give participants the PowerPoint slides, the recording, and the chat, and ask participants when they recover connection or when electricity is back, they can come through the slides and do all the activities and answer all questions that the rest of participants did during the live session, but this time asynchronously. So in that way, they're showing that they are managing the content of their workshops. Well, here are some of the ideas that they expressed. For example, there was one participant who said, I didn't know Telegram was so useful. It works better in a computer. It would be an interesting tool for online classes. And of course, the way you used it to teach, I'll copy you somehow. And somebody else said, great, I really liked it because we learned and participated actively. So this is regarding module one. Yeah, the other thing we did for monitoring and evaluation for learning was training sessions observations. Well, here we took into account these elements: timing, content, interaction, challenges and solutions, instructions, language, and participation. And from all the sessions that we had the chance to observe, the timing was almost perfect. So there was exactly the amount of time that was supposed to take each workshop. The content was simple, but it was clear, it was concise, and appropriate for the level. In terms of interaction, we noticed that it was mainly trainer participants, the type of interaction. So this can be, like a tiny detail that it was mainly this type of interaction. And in terms of challenges and solutions, we noticed that the trainers, when they face a challenge, when a participant said, sorry, I cannot listen to you, they always found a way to solve the problem immediately. So that was very positive. The instructions and the language used were very clear, simple, and appropriate for the level. And participation was massive. I mean, participants, they wanted to answer all the questions, to give their opinions. So this was very positive. Now I hand over to Juana, who is going to talk about some final thoughts.
Okay, so as final thoughts, we have here some. Okay, as final thoughts, we've got here some reflections. So we have reached. Okay, as final thoughts, we've got here some reflections. So we have reached teachers through Telegram in both urban and rural areas. It's flexible. It has offered flexible ways to deliver the program. I mean, if participants don't have computers, they can use their phones. Flexible ways to access the grid information in the chat. If they cannot see the video, they can see the screenshots of the slides in the chat. There's been a lot of interactions in the live sessions. The use of emojis and GIFs has also been very useful. It makes the sessions enjoyable and interactive. Teachers mainly use it to give their opinions regarding a topic. Polls to collect data has been also used, and it's been very useful. And the good thing is that you get the results immediately. And it's been developing communities of practice. Teachers has had interactions. We have teachers from different states of the country in groups, so they are now changing ideas, and they are like building a community of teachers. Adding to teachers' knowledge, what they've been learning new things, and they have added these things to their teaching practice. They are getting new digital skills for teaching. So some of the teachers are now using Telegram in their classes to communicate with their students as well. Teachers' reflections are giving their new way of teaching. I mean, this is something they do in every session. There are a lot of teachers' reflection upon their practice. Mhm. And well, that's it. Thank you very much for your attention. We are willing to hear into your questions and your comments.